Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030, and my name is Wadzanai Manyore. You might be wondering what is in her hand. I am here today in Manica land. I am consuming an apple. Did you know that most of our apples here in Zimbabwe are not necessarily from imports? We actually do have apple fields in INYANGA, and we also even go on to export some of these apples to foreign areas, to foreign nations. Now today we are going to be looking at how apples are produced in Zimbabwe, the conducive environment that is necessary or required to produce a flavorful apple like this one. We are talking of becoming an upper middle class economy. We do have people who might be keen on investing in our citrus industry here in Zimbabwe. So as such, it's important that we educate each other on the various opportunities that are here in our motherland, which is Zimbabwe. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. I am joined by Mr. Obedience Chimbadzwa Mutasa. He is the fruit manager here, managing these beautiful plantations, as you can see, producing these juicy, ripe apples that I'm holding today. Mr. Mutasa, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you to Wadzanai.
Yes.
You are welcome to CLAREMONT 21.
Mr. Mutasa, can you give us a brief background of this plantation? When was it established? How are you working? Just a brief synopsis of this apple plantation.
This apple plantation, known as CLAREMONT, it started long back, around the 1930s, as a family business. From there, it has been changing hands. Ariston Holdings came in around 2012 up to 2021 September. Then in September 2021, new shareholders came in, now operating as CLAREMONT 21. So CLAREMONT is a deciduous fruit production estate. Mainly we are growing apples and stone fruit. We have around 85 hectares of apples and 34 hectares of stone fruits. So basically, apples, our production or harvesting starts in December up to May. That's when we'll be harvesting apples.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mutasa, I want us to talk about the climatic conditions which support apples production and even the ecological region that we are in. We are in Manica land in INYANGA. Can you maybe highlight briefly on the climatic conditions and even the ecological zones which support apple establishment?
Yes, apple establishments favors good climatic conditions which are cool. Temperatures here range from around minus 0.4 up to 32 degrees. Okay. So apple production prefers temperatures not exceeding 32 degrees in most cases. Also, we are in region 1, where our rainfall pattern is ranging from 1,000 millimeters per annum per year to 1,200, and sometimes exceeds a little bit. So apples need quite a lot of water. So in this region now, with the amount of rainfall which we receive per season, is quite favorable for the apple production. So those cool temperatures, also we need clear weather where we receive lots of sunlight. Okay. With the apple production, sunlight plays a major role. For us to get good color on the apples, okay, good growth or sizes, we need sunlight. So in most cases, our weather should be clear for us to get enough sunlight for the good production of apples.
Now, Mr. Mutasa, I want us to talk about the different varieties that you have in your apple establishment. You will find that there are those that are really deep red or maroonish. Then we have those that are plain green. And these ones that are in the middle, greenish and maroonish. Can you maybe highlight the different varieties that you have? And as well, when we were driving through, I saw that you do have maybe 1 or 2 unique plants per row. That will be deep green and the rest of the row will be maroon. What is it for?
Yes, that is mainly for pollination. We have a unique variety, Granny Smith, which is the green apple which we are talking about. So when planting, we plant it in interrows. 2 rows of the other variety, a row of the pollinator, which will be the other variety like the Granny Smith. So we need cross-pollination for good fruit set on the apples. So that's why we plant in the rows of one variety and another variety in the other row.
Okay.
Also, we have many different varieties because our production, as I have mentioned, we start harvesting in December. We have some early varieties which come in December. Like we have the Afri series. They are ready in December. And coming into January, we have some early other varieties like the Gala family,
Okay.
which are maroon or red in color. Those come in January up to February. Then mid, we have some other varieties again like the Golden's Delicious, Golden family. So those are green, but when they are ripe, they show a golden color. Then from there, that's when we have the Fuji, which is also a maroon apple. Then the Pink Lady, which where we are standing right now.
Okay.
These fruits here, they will turn pink when they are ready. So in 3 weeks or a month's time, if you come to this field, the whole block will be looking pink.
Okay.
They will have changed the color. So we have many varieties, about 12 different varieties of apples, which we are growing here at Claremont. So from December up to May, we'll be harvesting all different varieties.
Okay, now Mr. Mtasa, we are standing in between rows. Can you maybe highlight in terms of inter-row spacing and the spaces that might be between in-row spacing?
Okay, our inter-row spacing is 4 meters apart. Why we do 4 meters? When we are doing our operations, tractors come and in the rows, yes.
Okay.
So 4 meters is enough space for a tractor to move around in the fields. So then from plant to plant, our spacing is 1.5. So for 4 meters by 1.5, most of the fruit plant population per hectare is around 1,476, somewhere there.
Okay. Do you use any fertilizers when it comes to producing these apples, or it's all organic, it's all natural?
No, we use fertilizers.
Okay. And when are they applied?
Twice a year. We do have post-harvest fertilizers, which we apply soon after harvesting. When we finish harvesting, the trees come to a stage when they are dormant. They are not moving. That's when we apply our post-harvest fertilizers. Those are reserves now for the next crop.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Then we do apply spring fertilizers, which we apply soon after fruit set. Then when the fruit is set, it's now starting to grow, we apply some spring fertilizers. Those fertilizers now support the fruit growth.
Okay.
Yes. So twice a year. And what we do is, before we do any fertilizer applications, we take some soil samples. Then we send them for examination. Then according to the nutrients in the soil, then that's where we get the type of fertilizers which we need to apply. So we don't just apply random, but it's according to the samples, the results of the soil samples which we will be having.
Okay. Now, as I was standing, I could see that there are some drip irrigation pipes and outlets. What is your irrigation regimen like? And even what are the intervals that you apply this water? Do you apply daily, or you wait when you have a dry spell, you come back with your water, or you wait for a hot day, then you come back with water? What is it like in terms of irrigation?
What we do specifically is we do test the soil moisture content. We use an auger. Then the soil moisture content tells us when to irrigate. Okay. When it is okay to irrigate, we have a microjet irrigation system. That's what we use. So in most cases, we irrigate twice a week.
Okay.
Per week, our crops should get about 45 millimeters of water. So we come in with the auger, we test the moisture content in the soil. When it tells us it's ready to irrigate, then we go in. We don't just irrigate, but we do test, and yes.
Okay. Now, finally, as we close this episode, you would find that I am seeing some apples that are on the ground. Is it because of disease, or is it because mutiwaremerwa? What causes kuti ma apples mamanga shidona pasi?
What causes this is wind. You know, for the last 2 weeks, we had some rainfalls with lots of winds. So it caused these fruits to drop off. Okay. But generally, when the fruit is about to be ready, some of the fruit drops on their own.
But they are maybe heavy for the stem, or the support system of the tree.
The support system of the tree, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So these windfalls now, we come regularly, we clear them off the ground.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mtasa. That was very detailed. On that note, viewers, we're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in Apples Production. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. We are here in the second segment of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030, where money matters in our agricultural fraternity here in Zimbabwe. We talk about business, finance, production, economics, to mention but a few. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer, Wadzanai Manyore. It's on 0772 807 506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness Wadzanai. Leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness Wadzanai. We are also now available on Twitter, where most of these discussions take place. Your comments are most welcome to us. It's at Agribusiness 110. Mr. Mtasa, we are here in the second segment. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes, I would like us to talk about your source of water. You spoke of irrigation earlier on, and you said maybe sometimes when you come in with your auger and test moisture, that's when you come back with irrigation.
Yes.
Meaning that you do have a very reliable source of water. What is your source of water? The source of energy you use? Is it solar? Is it wind? Is it electricity? Is it diesel? What is it like?
Our source of water, we have two main dams. One Claremont Dam, which you have seen there, and we have a larger dam, Moody, which is opposite that side. So those dams, the streams which feed in those dams are perennial. They never dry up. Okay. So we have no problem of water at Claremont.
Which is the beauty of INYANGA. You always have water.
Exactly, yes. So we have some pumps on those different stations which pump water from the dams now into the field. And the source of power is electricity.
Now, Mr. Mtasa, I would also want us to talk about, there are terms used in apple production, such as training and trellising.
Yes.
What do you mean when you say training? And why do you trellis in apples?
When we plant apples, we need to support them so that they stand firm on the ground. That's the reason why we trellis. When I say trellising, it will be supporting, we put in some posts, then we support the tree so that it won't move either way or being blown away because of wind. Okay. So it will be standing firm. If it moves around, most of the energy for growth will be lost. Okay. So we need it to be firm so that all the energy in the tree is
focused on growth.
On growth, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is definitely. So when we trellis, we support the tree. Then as the tree grows, we have to train it now.
Okay.
Yes. When I say training, like for example, this tree, you see, there are different branches which have come out. Okay. When these branches came out, they were just upright like this. Okay. If you leave them growing, they will just grow upright and they will not produce any buds for cropping. Okay. So when we train them now, we are stressing them. When you stress the tree, it produces some shoots for bud growth. Then from those buds, that's where we get the fruit set. Okay. So you have to train or stress the tree. So this system here which we use is called Solax system, whereby you bend the branches. When you bend the branches, for a tree almost we require about 22 branches on a tree. So from the bottom here, it's around 60 centimeters from the ground. That's when we have our first branches. Then 22 branches going up. Then with that, we will have our maximum production of apples on a tree.
Now, Mr. Mtasa, what are those pests that attack apples? Be it during production or flowering or towards flowering, what are those pests and diseases that are a nuisance in apples production?
Yeah, there are many pests and diseases, but for now I will just talk of a few which affect us most greatly. We have apple woolly aphids, which we use Confido to treat. Okay. Yes, we have powdery mildew, which we use wettable sulfur to treat. We have apple scab. This is a very bad disease because it affects the skin of the fruit. Okay. Yes, and we use Dithane NT to treat that. We also have alternaria. It's a big problem on the apples, and we use bellies to treat that disease. Those are some of the diseases which we get on the apple crop.
What do you use to control weeds? Or you just leave them like that, they dry out themselves? But given that Nyanga now, you do have rainfall and you do have good water sources, does it have any effect with on apples, and how do you control these weeds?
Yes, weeds do have an effect on apples. They compete on the nutrients with the apple tree and the weeds. So what we do, we plant some clover underneath, which is a cover crop. Clover suppresses other weeds. So that clover is good for the crop. It also releases nitrogen into the soil. So like this is the clover which you are seeing here.
Okay.
Yes. So on most rows under the trees, you see some clover. It suppresses all the weeds. But where there is no clover, now where the weeds come out, we use Roundup to control the weeds.
Okay.
But in between the tree rows, we just use a tractor drone mower to mow out the weeds. Yes, so in between the rows, we do not like it to be just bare. So we just mow the weeds and leave it like that.
Okay, you spoke of maximization in terms of yield per hectare, given that you are saying one tree can have up to 22 branches.
Yes.
Starting from 60 centimeters away from the root, away from the ground.
Yes.
Can we talk about your yield per hectare? How many apples in terms of tonnage per hectare do you expect?
For a good productive orchard, we expect around 65 tons to 70 or 75 tons per hectare. Yes, but on some of the low yielding orchards, yes, we get 45 tons, 50 tons, but in what our expectancy is 65 tons and above per hectare.
Okay. In terms of your employees working with within these fields, do you require any skills? Do you train them? How is it like with your team?
Yes, we do train them. Like as I have said, we need to train the trees, we need to prune the trees. So skill is needed. It's a technical job. Okay. So your skill is needed so that you know which bud to take off, which bud to leave. So we train all our labor who will be working in the orchards.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mtasa. On that note, viewers, we're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment on apples production in Zimbabwe. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030. We are here now in the third and final segment of your program, where we're looking at apples production. Earlier on, it was the technical side, from chemical application, fertilizer regimen, application systems, and even irrigation. But at this point in time, we are now in the grading shed, where the apples will be taken to after harvesting. Mr. Mtasa, thank you for joining us.
You are welcome.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when you are grading your apples, what will be taking place in the grading shed?
When we are grading our apples in the grading shed, we will be selecting according to the quality of the fruit and according to the market requirements. Okay. So from the field, all fruit, whether what quality it is bulked in one bin. But here now in the grading shed, that's where we separate, selecting. For example, if we are grading apples for the export market, we need to select fruit that has the quality that meets the requirements of the export market. Okay. Then if we are grading for the local market, we have to select fruit that meets the requirements for the local market. Okay. Yes.
Now, can we talk about packaging? In terms of packaging, how do you package and what material do you use? I understand you have different markets, retail, bare, export. In terms of packaging, what will be taking place?
In terms of packaging, different markets require different types of packing and packaging. So, for example, export market, we pack our apples in 18 kg boxes. Okay. Yes, which we call MK4 boxes. These boxes will be big boxes which weigh 18 kgs with different layers of fruit which are packed inside. And the fruit which is packed there is perfect class 1 fruit, which we will be packing for the export market. We also pack for the retail market in those 18 kg boxes. Some customers prefer those. And we also pack in 1.5 kg pre-packs, okay, which are written Zoost. Some we are also introducing the 1 kg packs. Some people might require small quantities, so those will be 1 kg, some 1.5 kgs. But for the vendor market, we pack those in 10 kg packs. Okay. Yes, that will be a little bit bulk, So that's the packaging we use for different markets. But each market has got specific or different requirements in terms of packaging.
Now, in terms of storage, you would want the apple to reach its final destination or the client in good condition, in proper condition that is attractive to the eye. In terms of storage, soon after harvesting, how do you make sure that your apples are properly stored to ensure that you don't have blemishes, you don't have bruises, it remains fresh? How do you take care of them?
In terms of storage, soon after harvest, as the fruit enters in the pack house, what we do is first we check the quality of the fruit before it enters into the storage area. It stays in the pack house. The fruit drops to room temperature from the outside temperature. From the room temperature, we get it into the cold room. In the cold room, apples, we require them to drop to an average of 0 degrees. So all our fruit should stay at that temperature. So what we do is, at that temperature, when we pack and load a container, that container, especially for export, we load in refrigerated containers. They have to set their temperature at that requirement 0. So from 0 in our cold room to a 0 set temperature in the truck. So from here to the market, the temperature should be maintained at that 0 degrees Celsius.
Now, as we round off, Mr. Mtasa, I want us to talk about issues surrounding the lifespan of the apple tree. Generally, how long does it take for you to say this tree is no longer productive, for starters? Secondly, in terms of the lifespan of the apple, how long does it take for you to say maybe these apples, regardless of them being in refrigerated conditions, they've now gone bad, we are going to throw them away? Can I have the lifespans of these two, the apple tree and the apples, the fruit themselves?
Okay. Generally, the lifespan for the apple tree from planting to peak production, it will stay for about 25 years. That will be in good production. Yes, if you are maintaining your trees well, some trees might go over 25 years to 30 years. But generally, for you to be in good business, good production, it should be from 1 year to 25 years. Okay. So that's generally, that's the lifespan of the apple tree. Then in terms of harvested fruit now, it differs with the varieties. Some varieties, especially the early varieties, the lifespan is a little bit short. It's about 2 months to 3 months, you should have sold them.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but our late varieties like the Fuji, the Pink Lady, the Sundowner, they stay for quite a long. They can stay in storage for 5 or 6 months in storage if you are doing your storage regimes properly.
How do you ensure that you are always clean, it's hygienic? What measures have you put in place, or the resources that you have mobilized to ensure that your apples are always clean, fresh, and even your employees?
Yes, what we do as a pack house, we have some standards which we follow. We are global get certified.
Okay.
So we have some set standards which we follow, like all the machines, the floors. We have some cleaning schedules for the machines, for the floors, for all the items which we use here. Even for the protective clothing, we also have some cleaning schedules. All the protective clothing which are used here, the staff do not take it home. Oh. It stays here. So for cleaning purposes. So all those schedules, we have to follow them religiously, okay, so that everything will be okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mtasa. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you, Wadzanai. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Did you know that in Zimbabwe we do produce apples as well, meant for the export market and for our local market? The apples that you are consuming in Mbare might be straight from INYANGA here at Claremont. On that note, viewers, we've come to the end of this week's edition. It was a pleasure having you with us today, where we're discussing apple production and establishment in Zimbabwe. From me, your host, Zanai Manyore, I'm also on Instagram, it's W Manyore, and the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.